job and you start doing what we trained to do. Otherwise, don't come back to this fucking corner. Do you hear me?
How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of Box Talk. You know, in boxing, words get thrown around a lot. Legends, icons, TBE, punchers, boxers. Everyone's associated with some sort of meaning.
Yeah, some sort of motto.
Yeah, but in boxing, there's one guy right now who has a legitimate claim to a lot of these tags, i.e. legend, old school, throwback, legend killer. I'm talking about the one and only Bernard Hopkins, and he's pushing the line one more time to go against one of the most feared punchers in boxing, full stop, and to unify the light heavyweight division. It's Hopkins versus Kovalev. Ade?
Wow. You know, that was quite a good introduction, my friend. And a couple of points you made in the introduction that are so poignant, so fact. A lot of people do put the. You know, the thing is, a lot of people put those tags on themselves. Sometimes you need your tag. Sometimes you need people to put tags on you. Yeah. Hopkins was like that as well. Hopkins used to come out, you know, I'm the legend killer, the executioner. He used to put tags on himself, but he never ever called himself the best ever. Yeah. He never even called himself the best of the generation. He's getting those tags now without having to do it himself. People are starting to think, look at that record and think, wait a minute.
A lot of guys get a world title and start talking about being in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. I mean, like, that's very a weak claim to a Hall of Fame. So there's certain fighters out there, Hopkins one of them, is that it's not even a question if they're a Hall of Fame fighter or not. It's just when you retire, it's a done deal. You know, you earn that over time.
I tweeted a few months back and I said, you know, someone needs to look at the ages of Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank.
I remember that.
Remember that tweet? Yeah. Same age, same generation as Hopkins. For me, it feels like those guys retired a whole generation ago. Yeah. Hopkins is 3 generations deep of boxing that he shouldn't even be in. Yeah. You know, he shouldn't even be in there because you got the likes of Ben and Eubank that retired. Then you got the likes of Roy Jones, another generation of Roy Jones and James Toney that kind of fell off. Yeah. Trinidad. Yeah. He's in a generation where you shouldn't even be.
When you look at the best fighters of all time, they normally have like an era. So you give it 5 or 6 years where they'll kind of occupy the top. Or where, you know, they made a contendership, now they're a champion, and now they've lost their title and they're coming down. But they get 5, 6 years. Very few fighters hold it for a long time. And there's no one to the top of my mind that I know of our era that's been a top 10 ranked fighter, world champion for better half of what? 16 years, 17 years, 18 years?
Probably 2 decades.
You're looking at what, from 96, 95, 96 won his first title, it's now 2014. That's a huge statement in itself. What we've got here, though, we've got a bona fide, young, aggressive, power puncher that could box, and let's be honest, has been laying the division to waste since his name came out in Kovalev. And
it's funny, you know, because all those tags you just used were the same tags that were used to describe Kelly Pavlik. Young, bona fide, puncher, boxer that's been laying the division to waste. Yeah. Again, I'm not trying to compare Kelly Pavlik and Sergey Kovalev, but Kelly Pavlik was running through people at the time, and it's supposed to run through a couple of years younger, albeit Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins, and a lot of fighters say this, and this is what makes me feel sick about boxing sometimes. I love it. A lot of fighters say, I will fight anyone. You hear it all the time. You know, call my manager, I'll fight them all. Promoters, I'll fight. Very few, and I mean very few. Miguel Cotto's probably in there as well now. Pacquiao, I think, would fight most people around that same. That's it for me right now. There's not many others around there that will literally take any challenge. Hopkins literally says, give me the toughest, I want the challenge.
And it's not the saying you'll do it, the record proves it. That's the difference. That's the difference.
This, though, undoubtedly, is his toughest test in Trinidad. Forget Antonio Tarver as a test. It's easy in hindsight to say it. Kovalev...
They're testing different reasons for different reasons. And the test is this time is that, yes, when Hopkins fought Pavlik, when he fought... as far as I'm concerned, Pavlik was much more one-dimensional. Yeah. Kovalev, I don't think is one-dimensional one bit. No, but the difference is, though, is that Hopkins was 44 when he fought Tarver. When he fought Pavlik, he was 43. Yeah. You know, you're much younger. Yeah. At 49 years old, by the time the fight time comes, less than 3 months.
3 months away from his
50th birthday. This is nearly the impossible challenge. Yeah. That's what it should call the fight, the impossible challenge.
Boxing, in terms of boxing fans, and we're going to get onto the fight very quickly. Time is running, but we're going to get onto it. Boxing fans should almost, I would not say be disgusted in the way that Hopkins gets treated in terms of pay-per-view numbers, in terms of crowd draws. We have a guy that is 49 years old. Any other sport, it'll be ridiculous. It'll be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And other sports are not as physical as boxing. Any other sport would be crazy.
I've heard Hopkins say before, if he was an NFL player, or if he would be like on every TV show under the sun.
Yeah, I'm going to speak to him. If he was a footballer,
yeah.
do you know what I mean? If he was a runner, do you know what I mean? I remember Merley Notty used to run at late. And I was like, oh my God, I'm actually still doing this at 40.
Yeah. This
is 49 years old in one of the physically toughest sports you can get. And not only are you doing it still, which would be one thing, you're at the top of your game.
Yeah.
You're at the top of your game.
You're a unified world champion.
But
going to unify again.
I've done this with every Hopkins video and it's got to stop. You guys go back, every Hopkins video, I'm like, this is it. It's almost, you can't keep doing it. I remember Jean Pascal, I think me and you had a little bet, and I was like, what's he, and luckily he got a draw out of it, I think. Pascal got a draw. Was it the draw the first one? And then the second one, obviously, we saw Hopkins did.
Draw.
The only one I've got correct so far is Dawson. I don't know how this fight plays out. I don't know. You know, one thing Hopkins is definitely doing before you even go there, he's obviously started doing the mind games. Yes, we know about the grey beard. He never used to do. Always used to dye his beard. A, never used to let it grow, and B, never dyed it before. Now he's just literally. I'm sorry, he always used to dye it. Now he's going. And the alien thing. Yeah. He's really learning this alien thing.
Medical picture.
More than everything. He is psychologically trying to start warfare already, and that's what I love about Bernard Hopkins.
So I tell you, the key for this fight, and I think the honest to God key to this fight, is not Kovalev, and it is not Bernard Hopkins. I think it's John David Jackson.
The referee?
No, the Kovalev's trainer.
Okay.
Yeah, John David Jackson used to fought Bernard Hopkins for the middleweight title 20 plus years ago. Okay, this is news. John David Jackson used to be in Hopkins' camp, and part of Hopkins' camp for maybe a good part of 7 years. When Hopkins said he kills all southpaws, he was sparring with John David Jackson, who's a southpaw, and was part of Hopkins' camp up to maybe 4 years ago. He knows Hopkins inside out. Now he's Kovalev's head trainer. He will know what Hopkins does in the ring, how he trains, what he's good at, what he's bad at, and how to make Hopkins uncomfortable. No matter how good you are as a fighter, everyone has things you do not like. No matter whatever sport you do, there's no complete athlete in any sport. Everyone has a weak spot, and John David Jackson will know that.
You know what makes me laugh about all that, and it's fucking a great point you make. Hopkins knows that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He accepts the fight winningly, knowing that your trainer is a guy that was in my camp and tried that I fought. So that guy is going to tell you every single thing about me. And what Hopkins does, still takes the fight.
Yeah.
He is from the wrong era of boxing. Hopkins should be in the 50s or 60s. Not even the 70s or even the 80s. Hopkins is a throwback beyond a throwback. He's an old school fighter I've never seen in my life.
Listen, fighting's here. Fighting's here. This is where it is, yeah? And he knows what he's got in here is most better, because most guys come with this. And he's coming with this. And it's only a few fighters that use that, like I said, in this current era of boxing.
The problem for me, and I see for Hopkins more than anything in this fight, and I think the more the problems are with Hopkins, yes, because of age and because of youth, it's a big thing. Kovalev, in the fights I've seen him, doesn't seem to take a break in any round. No. Kovalev seems to put pressure on round after, and Hopkins, we know Hopkins doesn't. Hopkins needs to, at 49, needs to take a minute a round. He needs to kind of do what he wants to do. Kovalev is definitely not going to give him the time to take a round, and this is why I think it's Hopkins' biggest test, because you're going to have a guy that is literally pressure, pressure, pressure. But the problem with difference is pressure with power. Yeah. That's the problem.
The thing I like about Kovalev is that he's always relaxed. Even when he's going for the knockout or going to do damage, he's relaxed. He doesn't push his punches. He doesn't overreach. He's always seems to be in that perfect balance of time and distance and just punches. Yeah. It's just flowing constantly. And that what I think is the most fearful thing, because you've got someone who is instinctive and reactive, not someone who's trying to do something. I.e. Kelly Patrick was trying to land the right hand. Tarver was trying to land the left hand.
And shows power.
People are trying to do things. Kovalev has never been trying to do nothing. He's just doing what he's doing. That's the sounds of an instinct of a natural fighter.
No, you're right. It is. Look, it's a tough fight to call, this one. It really is. You know what it is? It's because, it's a tough fight to call. Because even Hopkins laughs about this. How many times are you guys going to write me off? Yeah. Tavoris Kyle was supposed to be this guy that was supposed to run through him and show the youth. How many times are we going to write Hopkins off for him to prove us wrong? Okay, we've been writing him off for 15, 20 years straight.
I don't think you'll find any Hall of Famer in the past 20, 30 years that has been written for an underdog so many times as Hopkins has and won. When I say there's an underdog, I'm talking about the Trinidad fights, I'm talking about the Pavlik fights, the Tarver fights, the Pascal fights,
even the Winky Wright fight.
The Winky Wright fight was an underdog.
Joe Calzaghe fight
was an underdog.
Yeah.
This fight, he's always, that's maybe 10 fights, he's been like, you're going to lose this fight, you're the underdog, but you're still pound for pound, you're still number one, you're still top division, but you're the underdog.
Yeah, you're going to lose this.
Yeah.
Purely because of his age.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let you go first. Sum this fight up. Okay. Round 1 to 12 in 30 seconds.
Here's what I'm going to do with this fight, and this is what's going to happen. First of all, obviously, you don't count Hopkins out. You can't bet against him. He has the skill and the mindset to beat anyone, in my opinion. However, he's up against youth, power, technique, confidence, yeah. This is a young man's game. It's not an old man's game, yeah. Kovalev is going to be in this fight from the second, and expect Hopkins to be hurt and possibly dropped within the fight. The problem you have with this fight, though, is that Hopkins is not going to trade with Kovalev. He knows already the risk. Hopkins is very good at lateral movement, good at parrying shots and slipping shots. He's not going to let Kovalev get comfortable. As much as Hopkins knows what Kovalev has, Kovalev will stay in the pocket and get some low blows, get some cheeky shots in to let Kovalev know it's not no game. John David Jackson's got to keep Kovalev focused to say, don't fall into these traps of this guy, because this guy's going to lure you and set up for a trap. But I'm saying this right now, never bet against Bernard Hopkins. I'm going for a split decision for Hopkins because he's the granddad.
Look, this is probably the toughest fight we have to call this year by far. Normally, there's no fence sitting. There's just like, this is it, how it's going to play out, and this is it. If it was any other fighter in the world other than Hopkins, Kovalev wins for me.
Yeah.
He wins. You told me, Kovalev's going to go up against a 49-year-old Hall of Famer. You could show me the resume. I'll still say, Kovalev's going to win because he's on that roll at the moment, and he's just a machine, almost like GGG of the light heavyweights that I can't see many people stopping. The problem is, on the other side of the ring, is the guy that has seen it all and done it all. That's the thing. And if you watch Hopkins' last 3 or 4 fights, he's almost done something that surprised me more. He's actually thrown combinations.
Yeah, standing his ground a bit more, yeah.
He's standing his ground, people might say it's 2 things. People might say it's because he can't use his legs anymore, because he's 49. Maybe that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe, like Mayweather's experience, and maybe that's true. But one thing about him throwing combinations, he's hurting the fighters.
Yeah. Yeah.
If Hopkins can just hurt and show Kovalev a bit of power, then I think Hopkins wins. It needs something to deter this guy. Yeah. If Hopkins wants to try and have a boxing match with this guy for 3 minutes of every round, I just don't think it's possible. That's my thing. So I'm going for two decisions here. If Hopkins can stand and trade just for 30 seconds of each round to show this guy something, Hopkins by split decision. If he doesn't, then I think Kovalev takes it by, not split decision, by a wide decision.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, yeah. Kovalev can win this fight easier than Hopkins can.
100%.
Kovalev's got all the skills to knock out anyone in the world. There's no criticism to what he could do. And a lot of people on Twitter and on boxing chat rooms who we frequent are saying Hopkins is going to get annihilated. And I wouldn't argue with anyone because it's a valid point. You are 49 years old. You should not be fighting full stop, let alone someone like this. We done a video a year ago and you said that Hopkins should retire from fighting because it's dangerous.
Yeah. I
mean, like, there's no way to justify what he's doing. But I think this guy is really just one of a kind. And I just really think that he's chosen this fight. As you mentioned, he knows the deficiencies of Kovalev. He knows his camp, knows his rules. But I'm still going to take the fight. And that tells you something about the fighter.
If Hopkins does win, and because let's be honest, I wasn't a Hopkins fan. Not take it away. I was a Hopkins fan, but I didn't give him the plaudits that you have always given him. I've started to give him it now because I watch his tapes, I watch his fights, I love his speeches. It's a whole package for me. Yeah. If he does win this fight, is he top 20 of all time?
If he wins this fight, and if he wins it, no controversy, just wins it with his skill, I think he has to make a serious argument for that. A serious argument.
If you make a serious argument for that...
When you look at the top 20 fighters of all time, of Hopkins type of size guys, you're looking at Wanzon, you're looking at Hagler, you're looking at the likes of Tommy Hearns around number 30-ish, number 35. I think you could put him in that mix and say comparatively, he could hold his own with any one of them. Yeah. Either way. So that doesn't mean...
Everything now is adding to it.
Adding to it. So I'm not saying he is a top 20, but when you mention those type of names, those type of fighters, why can you not mention him?
Okay. All right, finally, if Kovalev wins, I know, so you don't know it's the thing you don't want to hear, but we've got to go there as well. Where does he go? Does he try and get the Stevenson fight? Is that even possible with Al Heyman now? Or is that just
if Kovalev wins, he needs to get the Stevenson fight. But as far as I'm concerned, he won't need to chase Stevenson.
Yeah,
Kovalev will just beat Hopkins, had 3 belts, and Stevenson will have 1. Yeah, Stevenson's been ducking, ain't been trying to fight no one. Was supposed to fight Kovalev, pulled out of it. Was supposed to fight Hopkins, pulled out of it. He has nowhere to stand. All
right, look, there you go, guys. Look, this is a fight that, as soon as it was made, I was like, ooh, Hopkins. And then I thought, what am I saying? I've been doing this for the last 5 videos, and he's proving me wrong in all those last 5. So it's the time instead of like doubting him, back him. He is that bloody good. But is this just one step too far? We keep saying it for him, but is this really just one step too far? Leave the comments below. Email us at
boxtalk@hotmail.co.uk, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at boxtalkuk.
Also, guys, don't forget to subscribe and also check out ringnews24.com. Thanks a lot for watching this edition of Boxtalk.